We're often told that great empires are built on steel, sweat, and gold, but that's not the whole story. In fact, it's a lie. Our most primal roots tell a very different tale. The very first human empire wasn't forged in gleaming metal, but in the deep, unending dark. For nearly 2 million years, we were creatures of the night. Not masters of it, but victims. We were hunted. We were cold. We were utterly helpless. Our senses were dull compared to the predators that stalked us. Our speed was unremarkable. We had no sharp claws, no formidable teeth, no natural armor. Our one and only advantage, the thing that kept us from being wiped off the face of the planet, was simple. Cooperation. We banded together. Yet, even in groups, we lived under a constant, crushing burden. The cold that seeped into our bones, the oppressive darkness that swallowed the world, and the ever-present terror that lurked just beyond the reach of the moonlight. This primal reality defined our existence. Every single sunrise was a hard-won victory. Every dusk was a desperate gamble for survival. This was life in the Stone Age, an almost incomprehensibly vast era, spanning over 3 million years of our history. But for 2/3 of that time, a period of 2 million years, our ancestors, species like Homo erectus, were trapped in a state of technological stagnation. Think about that. 2 million years with almost no innovation. Their toolkit remained virtually unchanged. A single, crudely shaped stone axe, passed down from one generation to the next. They were smart. They walked upright on 2 legs, but their primal roots were still sunk deep in the soil of fear. They moved, they ate, they slept, but they could never truly settle. They could never build, never plan, never dream beyond the next meal. Why? Because the most essential ingredient for dominance was missing. They lacked the power to control their own environment. Then, about 1.5 million years ago, something happened. A spark. A chance event. A natural phenomenon that would not only change our destiny but completely redefine the rules of life. On Earth, it wasn't a new tool. It wasn't a sharper spear or a better way to hunt. It was a raw force of nature, finally brought under our control. It was fire. Imagine the scene. Picture a lone Homo erectus, maybe sheltering in a cave after a violent lightning storm has ripped through the landscape. He cautiously approaches a burning tree, a remnant of the storm's fury. He feels the warmth on his skin, a sensation unlike anything he's known. He sees the light pushing back the suffocating shadows. This wasn't just heat. This was power. This was security. With the control of fire, the night was no longer a realm of absolute terror. The predators that had hunted our kind for millennia were now kept at a distance, intimidated by the dancing flames. The caves that were once cold, damp, and dangerous became the first true sanctuaries. They became warm, illuminated homes. This was the first hearth, the original command center of humanity. Around these fires, we gathered. We shared stories, not with words, but with gestures. We presence. The social bonds that were our only advantage were now strengthened, forged in the warm glow of our newfound power. But the true revolution, the change that would propel us toward planetary domination, wasn't just about staying warm or safe. It was about food. For millions of years, our diet was raw, tough, sinewy meat, fibrous, hard-to-chew plants. All of it was incredibly difficult to digest and often carried deadly pathogens and parasites. Cooking changed everything. Applying heat to our food was like outsourcing the first step of digestion. It predigested our meals, breaking down tough collagens in meat and complex carbohydrates in plants. This process unlocked a massive treasure trove of calories and nutrients that our bodies could now easily absorb. This caloric surplus was the ultimate game changer. It didn't just make us physically stronger and healthier. It went on to fuel the most energy-hungry organ in our bodies, the brain. Our brains began to grow. They expanded in size and complexity at a rate that is completely unprecedented in the entire history of life on this planet. This is not an exaggeration. The archaeological and anthropological evidence is clear. The control of fire directly correlates with the rapid encephalization of our ancestors, the dramatic increase in brain size relative to body size. We were literally feeding our own evolution, one delicious, cooked bite at a time. Think about the implications. More energy for the brain meant more capacity for a complex thought, better problem solving, more sophisticated communication, the ability to plan for the future, to remember the past with greater clarity. The simple act of cooking our food was the catalyst for art, for language, for culture. The hearth became more than just a source of warmth. It became the first classroom, the first workshop. Here, by the light of the fire, we could work into the night, refining our stone tools with a precision never before possible. The crude hand axe gave way to a diverse and specialized toolkit. Scrapers, blades, and sophisticated projectile points. This technological leap, powered by cooked food and longer working hours, allowed us to become dramatically more effective hunters. We could take down larger, more dangerous prey, which in turn provided more meat, more fat, and more fuel for our growing brains. It was a powerful evolutionary feedback loop. Fire led to better food, which led to bigger brains, which led to better technology, which led to even better food. This cycle is what catapulted us from a frightened, marginal species to the apex predator of the entire planet. Furthermore, fire allowed us to leave Africa. For millions of years, our ancestors were confined to the warm tropics, but with a portable source of heat, we could survive the colder climates of Europe and Asia. Fire was our shield against the ice ages. It allowed us to colonize every corner of the globe, adapting to environments that would have been instantly fatal to our earlier, fireless relatives. Every time you see a map showing the migration of early humans out of Africa, remember that each of those arrows was drawn with fire. So, when we talk about the foundations of civilization, we need to look past the steel, the sweat, and the gold. We need to look further back, into the deep past, to a time when our ancestors huddled in the dark, staring into the flames of a captured fire. That was the moment our empire truly began. It wasn't an empire of land or wealth, but an empire of the mind. An empire built not on conquest, but on the simple, revolutionary act of cooking a meal. Every time you turn on a stove, light a grill, or sit around a campfire, you are participating in a ritual that is over 1,000,000 years old. You are tapping into the single most important innovation in human history. The force that took us from hunted to hunter, from prey to predator. The spark that ignited the human mind and allowed us to inherit the earth. It all started with that first, courageous ancestor who reached out and did not flee from the flame, but embraced it, and in doing so, secured a future for us all. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this journey into our deep past as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about how we became human. See you in the next one.